to those 5 counts of murder in the first degree, how do you plead?
Guilty.
We start 9 News at noon with developing news out of the Springs. You just heard right there this morning. The Club Q shooter pleaded guilty. And in the last 25 minutes, the judge sentenced the shooter to 5 consecutive life sentences for 5 murders and 2,200 years for 46 counts of attempted murder. Last November, 5 people were killed and 17 were injured when shots were fired into the LGBTQ+ bar in Colorado Springs. Right now, our Jeremy Hohola is live in the Springs with the latest. Jeremy, earlier you heard some family members give impact statements in court today.
Yeah, very emotional day here in court today. The shooting happened 219 days ago. That's 7 months. Today is no doubt a significant chapter in this case as the shooter pleads guilty and now heads to prison for the rest of their life. And we want to make note in court today, it was confirmed again that the shooter here, this person identifies as non-binary and uses they, them pronouns. This morning, numerous survivors of the shooting, along with families of the 5 people who were killed, took to the microphone in court in an extremely heavy emotional day for people connected to this incident. They said much about their disdain for the 25-year-old shooter, wishing a painful and lonely life behind bars. Others spoke of their everlasting trauma after the shooting, describing anxiety and the pain of loss and fear of going out into public like the grocery store. One of the speakers this morning was Richard Fierro, who disarmed the shooter in the club that night. Fierro called the shooter a domestic terrorist. Another victim, who was shot 9 times and survived, wore the very hoodie to court she was wearing that night of the shooting. As part of today's plea deal, it was mentioned in court that the victims in this case wanted the suspect to acknowledge their hate crimes against the LGBTQ community. The shooter did not plead guilty to the bias-motivated crime, but no contest. The 2 counts as part of this plea deal here. The shooter also declined to speak personally in court today, except through their attorney saying that they were people killed. In the end, the judge gave the shooter 5 consecutive life sentences for the 5 murders and another 2,208 years for the 46 attempted murder charges. They also received another 3 years for the hate crime charges. So largely today's sentencing is very symbolic. This person is never going to get out of prison. Back to you.
You know, Jeremy, for a lot of people, I think this is a sigh of relief. It's not going to bring their family members and their loved ones back, but it certainly does feel like justice for them.
Yeah, it's no doubt a significant chapter closes here, but now, you know, the criminal case is over. There's going to be a press conference in about an hour and a half. We're going to hear directly from the district attorney and others who were responsible for the prosecution of the case, and we'll have more on that at 4 and 5 this afternoon.
All right, Jeremy, thank you so much. And like Jeremy mentioned, we will hear from victims this afternoon and have more details coming up starting at 9 News at 4 o'clock.